Here's my 2004 Range Rover HSE with a faulty fuel pump. Here's a short video on how I removed it. As a note, I am not a mechanic, so this is just how I did it. You can do it any way you like. Overall, this job took right around 30 minutes. I started the project by disconnecting the battery, so fuel and electricity sparks are not a good thing, so make sure your battery's disconnected. Prior to starting, you're probably going to want to confirm that it's your fuel pump and not actually your fuel pump relay, which is in the back corner. There's 5 relays there. It's the bottom right one right there. And that pops out. You can bypass it. There's videos on YouTube on how to do that, but just confirm that it is your fuel pump and not your relay. So what you want to do is fold down the rear seats and flip them right forward. You're going to be taking the rear carpet, folding it up, and in the back of that there's 2 access panels that's going to give you access to where the fuel pump is, so you don't have to drop the tank. The rear panel comes right out, and then we're going to get a better shot of removing the carpet that covers up the access panels to the fuel pump. There's 2 small, flat, round pieces of plastic. Those will pop straight up with a screwdriver. They came out pretty quick and easy. Push those out of the way. Then you're going to climb in the back. There's 2 straps that are holding the spare tire and the jack assembly. Those are held on. The actual bracket is held on with an Allen key. Those brackets go through that rear carpet, so you do need to take those off. Okay, for the next part, you'll need a T50 torque ratchet, and what you're going to do is take the brackets off that hold the seat down in the sitting position. So those 2 brackets are covering the carpet, 4 bolts, and those 2 black brackets will come right off, and then you'll be ready to take the side panels off next. Okay, my side panels came off by pulling it sort of from the bottom towards the center of the vehicle and up a little bit. It basically popped out the little release brackets. Don't take it out of the top. There's a small little bracket on the top that breaks very easy. The other panel you're going to need to take off is the one that goes from that down the sill plate towards the door. That again will just slide sort of straight up. So no tools necessarily for either of those removals. At this point, you should be able to pull the carpet sort of forward and towards the back of the seat. Just to give access, I ended up putting a motorcycle strap around the carpet and pinned it to something in the front. That just held it out of the way because I was doing this job by myself, and I didn't have that second set of hands. So I found this useful, and maybe you will too. Those 2 circles are your access point to the pump is on the right, so the passenger side, and the driver's side has got access. You're going to need to stick your hand in there and actually disconnect either a pump hose, or you're definitely going to need it open to put the pump back in. That being said, 10 millimeter socket, there's 4 bolts on each. Unscrew those, and there's your access to the top of the tank. So let's get right in for a real close look at the electricals and the fuel lines. There's a little slider on the electrical plug. Slide that one way, wiggle it a little bit. Mine's a little tough, but it pops right off. There's 6 connectors in there, and once you've sort of slid that little slider forward, should pop right out. The fuel lines, this was kind of hard to do with one hand on the camera, but basically you're going to pinch the bottom of the fuel line while you push it down. Once you pinch it, it sort of releases a clip or whatever. Then you can pull it straight off. Again, bit of a challenge while I was holding the camera, but pinch the bottom, pull it up. So this big black ring is just basically a nut. That's going to spin. There's one on the other side as well. I tapped mine with a screwdriver and a hammer, and it popped off quite easy. All right, at this point, the pump should pull straight out. There's a small little ring that you can put your finger on, sort of to tug the pump up. Keep in mind, the pump's only going to come up slightly because there's actually two more lines that go in part of the way down the pump. We're going to have to disconnect those. You can find it easy if you want to reach through the access on the other side and pop it off. Or I tried to show you how to do it, so I lifted it up and did it with one hand there. We'll show you here in a second. Okay, here's a close-up look at the two hoses that are still hooked up underneath, actually inside the tank. You can get in there and clip it off right here with easier to do when you're not holding a camera. That being said, the other way to do it is to reach in the one access panel and pull them off. But I'm going to show you right there. So this is a small little clip. You will release the clip with one hand and wiggle it out or pull it out with the other one. So guess what? The only thing to do now is pull the pump out of the tank. I had a little bucket there because there's obviously going to be gas all over it. Didn't want that splashing all over my truck. But there's a float lever valve or whatever on the actual bottom of the pump. So when you take it out, kind of wiggle it around. There's also a pickup tube in the corner. It's kind of an odd shape. So be careful when you pull it out. Just don't yank it out, but wiggle it back and forth and the assembly will come right out. You can buy this whole assembly, but I chose to try and just fix the pump inside it himself. So to take this apart, you have to just release these little wires so you get some room for it to move up and down. The bottom will pull off, kind of like Lego pieces, but sometimes you got to force it a little hard. But it does come apart, at which point you will see the pump in the bottom. That's the part I just want to replace instead of doing the whole system. This all pulls apart as well. Just keep watching and I'll show you how it goes. So the pump is kind of pressed into this little base piece. You don't really need any tools. You just need to grab it kind of with a firm hand. It's on a little clip, and just tug them apart, and congratulations, you've got it out. So here's the easy way to put your seal back on. Don't put it on the part and put the part in, because there's a flange and it's just a bugger to get through there. In fact, take the seal off both the pump and this lid, and then put the seal actually seated in where it goes. And once you do that, you'll find that piece and the pump will just slip right in within seconds. It's the right way to go. So here's a final shot, just showing the tools that I used for this project. Most of us should have this in our toolbox. I have a Torx T50. There is a 10mm socket. We've got Allen key, pliers, hammer, and a screwdriver. That's it, that's all. Good luck to all, and hey, thanks for watching.